Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Room Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 23. I'm your host, Joe Baress, along with my co-host, Joby Fawcett. Joby, how we doing?
Well, Joe, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I'm a little under the weather today.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed because you're kind of a homebody, but it's been extremely chilly outside.
It's been cold.
And I fear that I may be catching a cold. However, I did make it to the gym today. I worked out, so I feel a little bit better. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this morning I just woke up with a little bit of a uneasy feeling, Joe, as these Eagles saying.
and sure, you know what? It's probably because it's like 27 degrees today, so it might be too hot for you.
Maybe.
So yeah, well, hey, thank you for joining me. I know you have a busy night ahead of you.
Joe, we have extremely important basketball games tonight.
Exactly. And we're actually joined by our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week who has practice in 15 minutes. So we're going to roll through this. It is Addison Kilmer of Mountain View Basketball. Obviously, no surprise here, but Addison, how we doing today?
Pretty good.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining us. And just to let everyone know what Addison did last week, she scored 38 points, including the 2,000th of her career in a win over Susquehanna. She became the 11th Lackawanna League girls basketball player to reach that milestone. And as a kicker, she added 31 points in a win over Lackawanna Trail. She now has 2,042 points in her career. Addison, I know I talked to you yesterday, but you got to take me through that, reaching that 2,000 point milestone and what that night was like for you.
Yeah, so going into it, I was obviously pretty nervous, 27 points. I know I've been averaging more than that, but it's still a lot of points to get. So just going into it, I was like, oh goodness, here we go. I think I started the game off airballing it a few times, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then I think I had 24 in the first half, and then when I hit the three, the gym just erupted. It was so cool. Everyone was super excited.
Addison, this year as a senior, I mean, your reputation precedes you, of course. You've been a fantastic player for the last 3 seasons, but, defenses have to focus on trying to slow you down or at least try to defend you in the course of a season. How has that been, and how have you adjusted to that? I know you've really expanded your range. You started that last year with your 3-point shooting, but it seems like, by scoring so many points, you're still able to maneuver and dominate games, even though defenses are trying to stop you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty frustrating. Most teams just send 2 to 3 people at me most of the times. And it's basically kind of just been on my teammates. They always get me open and they always find me at the exact right time. So I'm super blessed to have them, but it's super annoying most of the time.
I can't relate to that. They used to leave me open, Addison. So, but, talk a little bit about, like you said, you just got into it now. We talked about it yesterday, how great the team has been. Talk about, and you said the strength of your team really is your defense. Obviously, you're in the middle, so that's a big, big help. But talk about what makes your team work and what makes your defense work so well.
I would say communication. Our coaches are always on us about communicating more. So I think that helps us in the game. We really put an emphasis on it. We have really good defenders, and I think it gives them some comfort knowing that I'm in the paint. So it allows them to take more risks and stuff. So yeah.
So Addison, this year's team is a little bit different than the 3 previous you've been on. You have some new players in the starting lineup, and you played an extremely challenging early schedule in the non-league season. So how did those games help you and your teammates kind of evolve into the team you are now in the Lackawanna Division III season?
I would say physically they prepared us because I think the girls the teams that we played before, they all were just like such good basketball players. Like there wasn't just 1 to 2, which is kind of what you see around here. I think physically it prepared us, and then also mentally, just like playing people that were so good. Like we got our butts kicked by Dallas, and like we did not like that feeling. So I think that motivated us to just get better and physically and mentally.
Absolutely. Addison, obviously, you're a great basketball player, but going into this season, is there anything specific that you tried to improve, or what was kind of your preparation like for this season?
I think my main goal was to just get stronger, like gain a little bit of muscle. Other than that, like just the basics of shooting, dribbling, passing, like yeah, pretty much just yeah.
So, Addison, you burst upon the scene as a freshman. Basically, it's no mystery to anybody who's seen you play. You're 6'1.5". Okay, so you're tall, and you stand out in girls' basketball games. But you immediately had such great success as a team. You went to the PIAA semifinals your freshman year. You went to a championship game your sophomore year, and then last year again to the semifinals in the state playoffs. What has this journey been like for you? And I know you had high expectations of yourself as a player, but really, you've really helped put Mountain View girls basketball on the map in a state sense as well.
Yeah, I mean, the journey has been pretty awesome. Like, not many people get to be like, "Oh, yeah, like I played like this many extra basketball games because our team like kept going." Like, and basketball is such a long season, so like a lot of the times like the journey is so long and people are just like, "Oh my gosh, like we're still going." But like I'm super blessed that the teammates that I had, they've just like kept going and kept working hard. So
Absolutely. Addison, we talked about, I kind of, I asked you yesterday, it's just like, dude, did you ever think you'd reach 2,000 points? And like, obviously, like, no one would ever think that entering high school. But what I liked about your response is that really your goal was to join your mom on the 1,000 point banner. How much has your family meant to you in your basketball journey?
my family has like meant the world to me, honestly. Like from getting to play with my older sister Riley, that was awesome. And now even sometimes I get to play with my little sister when she goes in occasionally. My grandparents are so supportive. My aunts, uncles, all my cousins run around at the games. My mom's she is an assistant, so like they just mean the world to me. They're so supportive.
So, Addison, for many people who may need to be reminded, you were our Times-Tribune Female Athlete of the Year last year. You are coming off a fantastic career as a girls volleyball player at Mountain View as well. This senior year has been really quite rewarding for you. How have you enjoyed these past few months here in what is your final high school season?
I mean, like honestly, just with the people that I've been surrounded with, like to be successful is one thing, but like my teammates have been super awesome too. So like they made it easy to like want to be there every day and just work hard. So yeah.
Absolutely. Addison is speaking of, volleyball, but you also golfed this year. You're a softball player. I mean, that's 4 sports. How are you able to balance all these sports, and, what kind of makes you want to just constantly be, trading off sports?
I mean, I'm fairly competitive, so I think just like in the sense of always competing for something like that makes me happy, but I would say with the balance is just like I don't even know. There's I don't know honestly, like I just
How
gotta
is
do
your
it.
golf game, Addison?
What?
How is your golf game?
I'm pretty bad, but it was really fun. So
That's the important thing. Hey, as long as you don't get frustrated by the game, that's
yeah,
important.
no, it was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
because I'm really bad too, so don't worry about it. But, you know, Addison, like you're going to obviously East Stroudsburg University. We talked about why yesterday. What do you know what you're going to major in, and do you think you'll try to play? Will it just be basketball, or will you try to pick up another sport while you're there?
So I think I'm gonna do something in education. I'm not sure what age level yet. And then also I think I'll just stick to basketball there.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Well, Addison, you played on a lot of travel games and AAU circuits, so you know what's ahead of you and the challenges you face. What did you like best about East Stroudsburg that allowed you to kind of settle in as your choice there?
I really liked the coaches. They were both so like welcoming, and I love the balance that they have with school and sports because like ultimately I know basketball isn't going to be like my forever, so I they take school very seriously, which I liked.
Absolutely. Addison, obviously we talked a lot about your teammates. I have one last question for you in the teammate aspect. Is there a teammate that has impressed you the most with their improvement this year?
tough,
um,
tough questions from Joe
yeah.
Baress.
I mean, obviously Aubrey is my floor general, so it's like I think this year she really stepped up into like a leadership role, but also just like she knows what to do with the ball. Not that she didn't last year, but I think she does a lot better of a job this year, just like making the right decisions and stuff like that. And then also Emily Trickolo, like we put a lot of our defensive, like the hardest defensive assignment to her. So like in that aspect, I think she's grown a lot on how to like guard good players.
So, Addison, before we let you go, congratulations again on being the Athlete of the Week. You've been in this role a couple of times now, but let me ask you this before in case we never don't get a chance to talk to you again before you graduate. You have not only been a terrific athlete and student at Mountain View, but, I can remember last year or 2 years ago when you were getting ready to leave for the state basketball final. you know, you have now kind of created a little bit of an aura about yourself, clearly with your height and when you got great support from the elementary school kids, and I know it meant a lot to you and your teammates that now you and your player and your teammates are looked up to by those younger kids. How does that make you feel that you've had that kind of an impact on what will be the next generation of players at Mountain View?
I mean, it makes me feel really good. It gets me excited to see the little children have like such interest in it. Like I don't know what game it was, but there was a bunch of kids that came up and like asked all of my teammates and I for our autograph. Like it was so adorable.
That is
Well,
awesome.
you were in that role once before too, right? When you were a little
Yes.
kid, you were probably doing it too, right?
Yes, Sierra to me. I took a picture with her.
Yeah,
See?
Yes.
exactly. And the last question I've got before we let you go, obviously, like you said, Sierra Toomey, you looked up to her. Now, like Joby mentioned, obviously young girls are looking up to you. Is there any advice that you would pass along to them that you've kind of learned in your basketball career?
I mean, I would just say like work as hard as you possibly can. I mean, like I would just say work as hard as you can and like do things to give you the edge. Like if you're thinking about going out and shooting, like definitely do it or like get an extra lift in or just like anything, just work super hard towards your goals.
Absolutely.
That's sound advice for sure, Addison. It's worked for you, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Addison, we really, really appreciate you fitting us in here, joining us. Always great talking to you, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Addison.
See you.
All right, that was our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week, Addison Kilmer. Joby, obviously, you know, we end up talking about Addison every week. She's putting up 30 plus points a game. I mean, and now reaching this 2,000 point milestone and counting is just an incredible, area to be in among Lackawanna League greats.
Joe, she's such a tremendous athlete. I mean, we've had girls with outstanding height who have played and excelled here in Northeast Pennsylvania, but she's got a great skill set.
Yeah.
She really does a great job at the defensive end. She times her blocks very well, and she has good moves offensively in the paint. But as I mentioned, Joe, she really worked hard a couple of years ago to expand her game. and she does shoot the three ball very well. And I think that's going to translate for her when she moves up to the next level in college, because again, there she'll be playing against players of similar height.
Yep.
So, it certainly is going to help her in her success in the future, but it has really, her height advantage and her skill set has made her one of the more dominant and certainly one of the more successful girl basketball players we've had in Northeast Pennsylvania. And she certainly has put the work in, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And, it's like I said, I wouldn't know it, but, having two or three girls, defending you at a time is tough too. So to still get the output and get the points is just really incredible. And, she's going to play 4 sports this year. I mean,
Yes.
Like you said, all around athlete. She's an excellent volleyball player. So it's just, incredible athlete, just like you said.
For all those young athletes out there who think that they have to specialize, I think Addison Kilmer is a great example of an athlete who has certainly committed herself to basketball. I mean,
Right.
She plays a very challenging schedule in the summer, but she also takes some time for herself. And what I mean by that is she joined the golf team this year, as you mentioned.
Right.
She's an outstanding girls volleyball player, and that takes up a lot of her time as well. She works out, she lifts weights. She also plays softball in the spring, which I think is a good mental break for her.
Sure.
After basketball. And so she has found that balance. And I think that is a real important message for young athletes to see, that you can participate and compete in different sports and still reap the benefits in the sport you enjoy the most.
Absolutely, Joby. Absolutely. And I think, and like, obviously we didn't get to it, but I think she was having a really good softball season and she got hurt.
She got hurt last year, yep.
I think she was hitting like 350 or something. So
she certainly warranted our Times-Tribune Female Athlete of the Year last year.
Without a doubt. So, but Joby, let's talk a little more basketball. It's
okay.
It's crazy to think that I know we keep bringing it up, but now it's February. And what are there, like 2 weeks, 4 games left?
Yes, we are 2 weeks away from the conclusion of the league season.
Yep. And so it's coming up fast. District playoffs. We'll figure out the league winners in these next few weeks, and we've got some big basketball games coming up. I know I'm holding you up from your preparation for the one you're going to tonight, Joby, but there's some big boys basketball games tonight. So if you're listening to this podcast, we're recording Monday afternoon, it's 3:30. If you're listening to this, be sure to go to the times-tribune.com/sports to read up on how all these teams fared tonight, because we've got a big day and a big week ahead.
Yeah, Joe, and don't forget you can follow on Twitter/X at SportsTT tonight, because I'll be at the Scranton Prep at Valley View boys game, which has got a lot of implications surrounding it. I know I kind of dove into it a little bit this morning with my preview notebook, and for those people following at home, Abington Heights leads Division I, is undefeated at this point of the year. The Comets will play Scranton Prep on Thursday and then follow up with Valley View on Monday. So tonight we have the first of the round robin games is Scranton Prep at Valley View. Now, the first time these two teams played, I know the score is going to say Scranton Prep won by 13, okay? And Joe, my theory, my one belief in sports, is there's a reason they take score.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Now, in that game, I want to make sure I paint a proper picture for the fans. It was a 1-point game, I believe, at the end of the first quarter. And then, if you remember back when we had to describe this game the first time around, Packy Doherty he had a 3-point shot, a deep 3-point shot. He converted a 3-point play, and I believe there was another 3-point play. And this was in succession in 3 straight possessions. And in the blink of an eye, Scranton Prep went on a 13-0 run and ended up winning the game by 12 or 13 points, okay? Otherwise, that game was very evenly matched, and it was back and forth. And I really look forward to this game because it is a rivalry, Joe. It carries over from the football.
Yep.
Okay. And, Scranton Prep can score a lot of points. Packy Doherty's averaging 22 points a game. Brody Martin's an outstanding offensive player, but he's really geared toward being one of the best defensive players in the league. And then, Valley View has been a little bit of a surprise this year, as we've talked about, but they're not a surprise now because obviously, having quite a season at 16-2. The Rowe brothers, Cash Rowe and Jagger Rowe, have been outstanding, averaging in double figures all year. Michael Muto does a good job making the shots from the outside, and Noah Smoleski has kind of emerged as one of those dual threat guys inside and outside. So I look forward to this game. It should be a real good one, and you can certainly follow along as we do the coverage live from the venue at Valley View High School.
Absolutely. And Joby, I should mention, sorry, I kind of jumped the gun to tell you to look ahead before looking back, but you had a few really, really good games that you saw last week in Holy Cross beating Old Forge 73-70, and Riverside avenging their earlier loss to Dunmore in a 1-versus-2 matchup. Talk a little bit about what you saw in those, what you took away from those games.
Well, Joe, I will report that my 4-color pen ran out of ink.
No.
That's one of the things that I noticed. But you will also note that I had a story in the paper on Sunday about the increased point production in the Lackawanna League this year, in particular on the boys' side. And that's what I came away with. My head was spinning after the Wednesday-Thursday doubleheader. First, the Holy Cross Old Forge game. What an intense battle. Now, you remember, Joe, because you were celebrating like the 72 Dolphins popping champagne corks when Old Forge finally ended that long losing streak, 38 games to Holy Cross. You were the previous Holy Cross team to lose to Old Forge in this series.
That's right.
And Old Forge has a nice team. I mean, it's so bizarre when you're talking about what has happened to Old Forge this year. You look at the losses. Lost to Riverside by 7.
Yep.
Lost to Dunmore on a prayer
3-pointer
from half court by Braden Canavan. Lost to Valley View by 4. Now against Holy Cross, ended up losing by 3, where Cameron Parker hit. He was trying to be the hero at the buzzer. His hit off the back iron and caromed away and nearly went down. So Old Forge is one of those teams I really think can have a really solid postseason, especially districts and then into states, because of the experiences it's had. Now, it does have to learn to kind of get over the top of those close games, and I think that they'll have to work on that a little bit in this week, because if you know, Joe, on Thursday, Old Forge will play Riverside at Old Forge, and I suggest, and this is just, again, public service announcement from me, get to these games early. Every big game that I've been to this year has been a sellout. The announcements have been made at every one of those venues. They're to capacity. So, I would encourage, if you want to go see that game, get there early. And the reason I say that is on Thursday, Joe, at the Riverside Dunmore game, I had called ahead to let them know I was coming, but I got there about 6:00, which was the tip of the JV game.
Right.
And people were being turned away. The game was at capacity already, and it was in an hour and 15 minutes before tip.
Wow.
So the crowds are coming out to see these teams play, and the teams are certainly delivering. Now, getting back to that Old Forge Holy Cross game, what a story Holy Cross has been. This is a program you don't generally kind of try to make excuses for, and I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. But early in the season, C.J. Thompson missed 3 games. And then right when he came back, the game he came back, Adam Bedurka went down for 10 games with an injury.
Right.
So Holy Cross just now is kind of playing at full strength for the first time all year, and has come away with a couple of big wins, gave Riverside a very good game at home against Holy Cross's Gymnasium, and then beating Old Forge. So it'll be interesting to see. Holy Cross still has to play Dunmore later on this week, early next week, one of those 2 dates. So some good basketball in that division too, but what a game by Riverside on Thursday. Joe. This again, Dunmore had a great game the first time around against Riverside. Dunmore's got 4 kids who can score in double figures every game. Braden Canavan, Carter Slode, Nate Viles, and Jimmy Clark. And you've got the 2 big scorers in Nico Antonacci and Braden Rose. And it was Braden Rose's show. 41 points, and
Yep.
he kept going to the basket, and they really couldn't stop him. And then, Nate Viles did a great job defending Nico Antonacci early on in the game, frustrated him a little bit. But then he got hot. And the next thing you know, in the blink of an eye, I was sitting there, and one of the fans had mentioned, well, how many points does he have now? I said, yeah, now he's got 30. So, they just score in bunches, Joe. They score so quickly. And it was an entertaining game to watch. It was intense. It was almost too intense at times
Yeah.
in the gymnasium, not between the 2 teams, but between the student sections. But it's fun. It's a great rivalry. But you mentioned, Joe, we're at a point in the league season where we're coming up to the end. Okay.
Yep.
But these Dunmore Riverside games are huge. They split them now. Okay. The District 2 Class 3A playoffs. The top seed gets a bye, and only 2 teams advance to the state tournament.
Right.
So right now, Riverside occupies the number 1 seed, which if it continues to win, it will hold on to, because its strength of schedule is superior to the rest of the teams in the bracket. And Dunmore is more than likely going to hold on to that number 2 seed, regardless of what happens the remainder of the way. I mean, it would have to be a titanic collapse for it not to be. And
Sure.
truthfully, the worst it could be is the 3. Okay. And Elk Lake, could conceivably go to number 2. But that leaves Holy Cross at number 4.
Right.
And again, barring any kind of mathematical change that I cannot foresee, I'm not the emperor and I'm not Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I think you're going to get a Holy Cross Riverside semifinal.
Yeah. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. So
crazy.
Interesting stuff moving. That's a way down the road. We won't get too far ahead of ourselves.
Right. Exactly. You usually warn me about that. We don't get too far ahead of ourselves here.
Do not want to do that.
But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just, Joby, it really is just crazy that, in any of these matchups, when you're talking about, it's not just in Division 2, but you're talking about Holy Cross Riverside, Old Forge Dunmore. I mean, anyone could win at any time. I know I'm not breaking news here, but it is just very exciting every time any one of these teams face off.
It's been such a great high school boys basketball season, Joe, and just kind of looking at that, you mentioned those teams in Division 2, and then you jump up to Division 1, right?
Right.
And Abington Heights, Scranton Prep, and Valley View, any one of those 3 teams can win that division. And Joe, Scranton Prep and Valley View, that's an important game for Valley View and Scranton Prep for District 2 seeding, because both of those teams are in quite a battle with Dallas and Wyoming area.
Yep.
For those number 1, number 2 seeds. You want to have those home games in the semifinals.
Absolutely.
So they'll be picking each other off here in the Lackawanna League, and then who knows what's going to happen moving forward. And of course, Abington Heights is challenging to defend its District 2 Class 5A title. They're the number 1 seed in that power rating standings. And then you drop down to Division 3, Joe, and you mentioned, so this week and into early next week, we've got Elk Lake, Susquehanna, and Lackawanna Trail. All 3 of those teams are ranked in the top 10 this week.
Right.
8, 9, and 10. And they'll play a round robin to decide the division winner there.
Right.
So there's some real exciting basketball coming up. And I know one of our jobs here is to promote local sports, but I'm here to tell you, in boys basketball, and this will hold true for girls basketball as well, probably, our teams are not only going to do well in districts, but dare I say, the 2 teams that come out of District 2 in Class 3A are going to be, I would say, among the favorites to get to the final.
I hear you.
and could even play each other in the semifinals. Remember, we had that possibility last year.
Yeah.
With Riverside and Holy Cross. They were on the course, and Riverside got derailed by West Catholic.
Right.
But I would also say Old Forge can certainly make a run in the state playoffs when you have a scorer like Cameron Parker and an interior player like Logan Fanning, that you're not going to see that a lot on the 2A level.
Right.
Okay. I also think that Scranton Prep and Valley View, remember Valley View went to the semifinals last year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I think Dallas has the firepower where it can score. Dallas has a big win over Abington Heights this year.
Right.
So that's a team. Any one of those three teams can certainly make some noise in the state playoffs as well. So I really think we have some outstanding high school boys basketball teams, not just locally here, and clearly they're competing quite well against each other. But I think all of the teams that we've mentioned can make some real headway in the state playoffs as well.
Absolutely, Joby. And just to go through the top 10, you kind of mentioned a lot of it, but Riverside took over the top spot in the boys' top 10 after their win over Dunmore, who dropped 2. Abington Heights is 3, Prep 4, Valley View 5, Holy Cross 6, Old Forge 7, and Elk Lake Susquehanna Trail 8, 9, 10, like you said. So that's where we're at, and we got two more fun weeks before we get to the postseasons. Like you said, just great boys basketball this season. But to take it over to girls basketball, Scranton Prep takes over the top spot in the girls' top 10 after a big win over North Pocono, getting a big-time effort from Shannon Bistricki, 22.6 threes as Scranton Prep beat North Pocono on Friday. So that was, that's a massive win for Scranton Prep, and they kept rolling into Sunday where they beat Scranton, I believe outscoring them 18-9 in the fourth quarter. Chloe Mamera leading the way for Prep. So that was a big win there for them, and they took over the top spot. North Pocono only dropped to number 2. Dunmore is at 3. Abington Heights at 4. Valley View at 5. Honesdale and Scranton tied for 6. Mountain View 8. Delaware Valley 9. And Holy Cross 10. So yeah, we've got some big time games coming up on the girls' side. Scotty Walsh will have a girls' basketball notebook that'll be in Tuesday's paper that will break down Tuesday's games, and we'll have the pink game, which will be North Pocono at Abington Heights. I believe Scott will be at that one. But we also have Valley View at Scranton Prep, which will be a big game, obviously, as well as those two teams are fighting it out for also trying to gain that top seed in Class 4A, the District 2 power ranking. Scranton Prep is at number 1 right now, closely followed by Valley View at number 2. So yeah, we've got some good girls basketball coming up as well.
Joe, the veteran Scotty Walsh will have this all broken down for us, I know. So I just want to give you an outsider's view on some things.
Absolutely.
One, the pink game, Abington Heights and North Pocono do a great job with raising money during Coaches versus Cancer Week with that event. Now it's a little bit separate from the Coaches versus Cancer Week activities, but it certainly does. The kids do a lot of activities from both teams, and it's going to, not only that, now you have the added part to the equation that the game is so meaningful in terms of its on-court meaning, right? It's a meaningful game because of what it does and what it brings to the community, and then the money's raised for those in the community. But now the game is extremely important for both teams, which are trying to pursue a division title. And if my math serves me correctly, Joe, And remember, I was an honor roll student in high school. Scranton Prep, North Pocono, and Abington Heights are all 8-2 at
Yeah.
the top of the division.
Yeah.
So again, we talk about the round robin, right? And people may not always fully understand what I mean by that but you have to play everybody in the division, okay? And so, these teams will start. They've been playing head to head, as you mentioned already. Scranton Prep beat North Pocono and Scranton in the last 3 nights. Okay, last 3, the Sunday, Friday's combination, right? Or Sunday,
Right.
Yeah, Friday. And so those teams will battle it out, and then you throw Valley View into the equation. I think Valley View's, one of the top teams in the division, and 7-3.
Yep.
So Valley View still can make an impact on this. Valley View handed Prep one of its losses in the first half of the season. So some good basketball ahead. And you mentioned that these games will have an impact on where these teams kind of seed out for the district tournament. I know we spoke with Addison Kilmer, our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week, and Mountain View is leading the 2A power rating standings. I believe Dunmore is leading the 3A. And
Yep.
What is Dunmore up to now? 104 straight league wins?
Yeah. 104.
Is that an incredible number?
Yeah.
Just to think about. But I will say this. Now, Dunmore will play Honesdale again coming up, I want to say, in about 6 or 7 days.
Right.
That game will be at Honesdale this time around. It might be a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always tough to play up there in Honesdale, so that should be a good game. But what a great job Dunmore has done in establishing itself as really an incredible sports dynasty, not just a girls basketball dynasty, but a sports dynasty here locally in general. And you mentioned Scranton Prep and Valley View kind of trying to beat each other out for that number 1 seed in Class 4A, and then you have Abington Heights in Class 5A. So those teams in Division 1 are really, really, really going at each other, and we'll see how it all plays out. But it's funny, you mentioned that Scranton High lost on Sunday to Scranton Prep. And PJ Hughes will kill me if he listens to the podcast, but I think that's the 3rd league game in Division 1 that Scranton has lost a 4th quarter lead.
Oh,
So, you look at Scranton's league record. I want to say it has 5 losses, right?
yes.
And what do they say? 4 or 3 of them have come when they had a 4th quarter lead.
Quarter lead. Yep.
So Scranton's had a little bit of rough luck in terms of finishing, but that's a team you're going to have to keep an eye on. Now, I don't know how they've played Hazleton in the preseason, and Hazleton area is one of the best teams in the state.
Right.
Okay, so
right.
But I think Scranton has had a pretty. It's funny you mentioned that they're number 6. I think they have 10 losses overall. How does a team with 10 losses?
Right.
Well, that's how you've played those top teams in Division 1. You've played some non-league games against teams like Crestwood and Hazleton area.
Right.
So they certainly warranted some respect as well. Good girls basketball in that Division 1.
Absolutely. And to add to your point, Joby, they've beaten Valley View this year, I believe. They won the Linnet tournament, right?
Yes.
And that's right. So it's just like, that's another one where anybody could win at any time. And, we're much like the boys for Abington, the Abington Heights girls also have, the tough back-to-back games. Now they'll both be at home, but on Friday, Abington will host Scranton Prep. So that's another big time matchup. And I should also mention that a rare late Sunday night girls basketball game, Crestwood upset Hazleton area. I believe it was 63-51. Those are 2 really, really good teams.
So that's only an upset because of the classifications. Those 2 teams are the top 2 teams in the Wyoming Valley Conference.
Oh, they're great. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I wanted to at least.
Yeah, they are 2 great basketball teams.
Right. Exactly. And then, you have Dallas in there as well. So the Wyoming Valley Conference is really top level, especially when it comes to those 2 classifications. Dallas is number 1 in 5A, followed by Crestwood. And Hazleton area is obviously on top of Class 6A, as you had mentioned. So, yeah, we've got some great basketball on both sides of the boys and girls.
And Joe, the Wyoming Valley Conference, well, I don't want to get too far into it. I believe the regular season wraps up this week, and then Wyoming Valley Conference has its postseason tournament
Yeah, they have a little
next week. Yes.
Yeah, it's the top 2 Division 1, top 2 Division 2 teams. It's like a 4-team
It's a
tournament.
neat little format that they've come up with, Joe.
Yeah.
I know we had in the Lackawanna League some of that stuff a couple of years ago, probably before you even were playing, and it didn't get well received.
Okay.
The fans loved it,
Sure.
but you ran that risk of losing a top player
Yeah.
in games that really didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of threw some water over it. And Joe, like anything else, these things are all great on paper.
Right.
And I think they're great in terms of what they bring in to stimulate interest.
Right.
But I don't look at it from a coaching perspective. I'm only looking at it from a fan's perspective or a sports writer's perspective. Coaches look at it from a team exhaustion point of view.
Right.
The significance of the games. Do they really mean that much when the ultimate goal is the state playoffs or the district playoffs?
Right.
But it is neat that the Wyoming Valley Conference does kind of create this real buzz.
Yeah.
And I think it helps their teams, as long as nobody gets hurt, it helps their teams get ready for the district playoffs. So we'll see how it plays out. But certainly that's going to be next week. So we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
That's right, Joby. That's right. So last week we had the District 2, Class 3A and Class 2A duals tournaments, and
great coverage by you and Tom Fox.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So Abington Heights came out on top, capturing their first title since 2022, not that long ago. And meanwhile, Honesdale captured their 4th straight. And I've got to say, I mean, I saw Abington's matches in the quarterfinals, semifinals, and final. And that is, Class 3A was really, really tough this year, very deep in the Lackawanna League and the Wyoming Valley Conference. And that was seen by Pittston area, the number 5 seed, taking down number 4 Wilkes-Barre area and number 1 Hazleton area to reach the final to face Abington Heights. But, it's a credit to Abington Heights, a credit to the kids, it's a credit to Coach Gregory Teone that they, the key to duals wrestling is really wrestling as a team, making the right moves as a coach. And it's not just about the winning the matches. It's not allowing bonus points in the matches you lose. Everyone has a job, and I don't want to put it this way, but a good loss is better than getting pinned. Lose by decision and only lose 3 points instead of 6. Lose by major decision instead of a pin. It's really doing your job. And Abington Heights, for most of this season, if not all of it, they did their jobs at every weight. It was hunting for bonus points if you got the edge and you got the win, and it was not losing those bonus points in those matches you lost. Against Wallenpaupack, just to highlight Chase Berry, a sophomore from Abington Heights. He won kind of a toss-up match against Wallenpaupack's Kyle Scartelli by a 5-3 decision. That's just a massive win in a match that ended 35-31. So any match could flip it. But at the same time, it's JJ Beck losing only by major decision to Giovanni Lamonaco. It's Aiden Kane only losing by major decision to Jake Rafferty. It's these minor, it's the whole doing your job at your weight class. And that extended to the final when Abington Heights beat Pittston area 44-21. Lucas Caraha, right off the bat, a freshman, getting a decision victory, a 5-3 decision victory over David Krantz. Another toss-up match that put Abington Heights on the right foot, set the tone, and from there, they just rolled. Everyone did their job. Lucas Drake had a great match against Ethan Aftwicks that went to the ultimate tiebreaker. Lucas Drake winning that match 3-2. That was probably the premier match of the day, and that essentially clinched that match for Abington Heights, because there was no turning back after that. And so congratulations to them. Now they will most likely be facing Bethlehem Catholic in the first round of states, which start tomorrow. They'll be at Scranton High because we mentioned Abington girls are hosting the pink game tomorrow night. So Bethlehem Catholic will take on Owen J. Roberts in the preliminary round, and Abington will face the winner of those two. Like I said, Bethlehem Catholic is the defending champion. They are the District 11 runner-up, which is the best district for wrestling. They have the top four teams ranked in the state. So it's no doubt going to be a challenge for Abington Heights in the first round. That's just who District 2 usually draws in the first round. We get the District 11 runner-up. So it's always a rough draw, but it is what it is. And unfortunately for these teams now, the Giants Center no longer hosts the team championships, so they have to have these regional matches in the first round in order to reach the ultimate host site that replaces the Giants Center. So that'll be in Johnstown. I believe it's called First Summit Arena. If Abington Heights wins, they'll advance to Friday's quarterfinals, where it will become a double elimination tournament from there on. So again, I can't lie, it's going to be an uphill battle for Abington Heights facing the defending state champion, but I'm going to be very interested to see how they stack up, and it's going to be an interesting match for sure. Speaking of Honesdale, obviously this is their fourth straight district duels title. They've been so overwhelming in the district with their star power, but a Hanover area team had its own stars this year, and they really caught up. And Honesdale ends up getting a disqualification at 215 pounds. You lose 6 points in a spot that you don't expect to, and all of a sudden, they've got to pick up a match late where Morgan Wilcox is losing 7-0. He rallies for the pin in the penultimate match to seal the victory for Honesdale. So that is just a great win for Morgan Wilcox there to save the match, because if he doesn't win that match, Hanover area is winning. So, on a team highlighted by stars, again, you get a role player coming in, doing his job, and getting that pin to keep Honesdale's streak going. They will face Montgomery, District 4 champion. They also will host. That's at 7:00 tomorrow night. And, Honesdale faced Montgomery earlier in the season, and it was a close match. It was 35-28. Unfortunately for Honesdale, they've been wrestling without Dominic Schumann. Obviously, we had his brother on the podcast last week, Nathan, but Dominic Schumann was having a hell of a season, and he's been struggling with injury. So it's going to be tough to try to figure out, how to get a match or two, swing a match. But considering it was just a 7-point match, that's, who knows, that could swing Honesdale's way. So, but yeah, that should be interesting as well. That will be at Honesdale tomorrow night at 7:00.
Joe, great coverage of the District 2 Duels Championships. You guys logged a lot of hours and gave us really good insight. And boy, how about the intensity of that Honesdale Hanover area match?
Crazy, exactly. It's not to Honesdale's credit, that's not a situation that they usually find themselves at in the district duels, probably ever since, the Trail dynasty a few years back. So, to just come up big in a situation, I feel great for Morgan Wilcox. But yeah, great matchup there. And, just a great run and credit to Piston area. I mean, getting to the final, having to take out Wilkes-Barre area and Hazleton area on criteria. That was criteria D, Joby, for those, keeping track at home that they beat.
Yeah, I don't know any of them. So,
but yeah, so it's been a lot of fun wrestling, and both teams tomorrow night will face very tough challenges, but it is the state tournament, Joby. So you're going up against the best.
Correct, Joe. That's why it's so rewarding at the end.
Exactly.
I know people find that hard to believe too.
Right? Exactly. So we'll see how it shakes out. I'm excited to see how our teams fare. Joby, I know I texted you last night, but I had to laugh when I saw, there was swimming relays last night, and one of the relays was the crescendo relay. That was just like, wow, Joby, they just do it all, and you just do it all.
Joe, the Classic Gold Relay Invitational, which Colin Manley, the head coach at Scranton Prep, does a great job of organizing and putting on. And it started, I believe this was the 24th rendition of this event. And the neat thing about this is, they do have the one event in there. It's kind of like a medley, the crescendo. Now, I have never had it fully explained to me of how it works, but my only guess is, Joe, that you have a swimmer do a 25, a swimmer does a 50, a swimmer, it's a crescendo, right?
Sure.
So you get the final distance or whatever it is, and you add up the times. But Joe, great swimming going on in our area, and I know we'll kind of quote unquote dive into this later on in the year as we get closer to the Les Richards Championships. But this event offered the opportunity for us to kind of see the best go head to head for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's in a different format in the relays. It kind of reflects the Jordan relays for track and field. And, still you had some great record setting performances out of the teams from Abington Heights, and Scranton Prep had some great performances in the girls races, and that outstanding team from Wannon Valley Conference, Tunkhannock boys. I mean, they were just spectacular. I think they won 7 or 6 of the events.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they have great depth. They've got great talent. And it's a lot of fun for the kids because they do get to compete at a very high level in some really intense races. A lot of times, Joe, unfortunately, in our dual meet season, you don't get that.
Sure.
In the individual events. It happens even in track and field, as you and I have talked. But when you get together like this, it's pretty neat. And some of the races now, it's hard, but you have to kind of look through the results and see how close they were. And I believe in 3 of the record-setting relays, the top 2 teams broke the meet records. So that's pretty impressive as well. I'm really looking forward to the postseason, Joe, as we get humming here. We still have some good meets ahead. Delaware Valley still has to swim against Scranton Prep. Last week, Scranton Prep girls beat Abington Heights girls in an incredibly intense and competitive dual meet. And the Abington Heights boys defeated Scranton Prep to knock Scranton Prep out from being undefeated. So that'll put Delaware Valley and Abington Heights, when those 2 teams meet later on this week, I believe it's Wednesday, they'll both be undefeated going into that matchup. So that should be a lot of fun. And Delaware Valley still has to swim against Scranton Prep later on in the year.
Absolutely, Joby. Absolutely. So, well, Joby, we're coming up on the end of the show, and I want to mention, I know there's a lot of work that goes into it, Joby, but I always very much enjoy the football region team picking the Super Bowl, which I believe you'll be putting together. That'll be posted on Sunday online. I always enjoy reading it. I know it takes a lot of work to kind of throw together everyone's responses and everything. But
it's coming together, Joe, and I think you're going to be quite surprised. Right now, I don't want to give it away, but I think it's a tight race to see what team for either the Seahawks or the Patriots the all-region players are going with.
Right. I believe it. We've got, you had a really nice story, Joby, on CJ Dupree, on the 53-man roster. So
he's been through a lot, Joe. It's interesting. The first thing people say is, well, he's not going to play. Well, we don't know that yet, but
that's true.
Even if he doesn't play, he is on the team. He practices with the team every day. He's a professional. This isn't high school football.
Right.
And he did play in 2 games at the end of the season, so he does have some professional equity in his contract.
Yep.
And he's certainly getting the extra extended season pay. So, I was happy that he got a chance to kind of say some things about his experience. He enlightened some people on what it's been like to be a professional football player and as an undrafted free agent. And hey, Joe, here's a kid who in high school won a District 2 Class 3A championship.
Yep.
He went to Alabama after Maryland and won an SEC championship.
Yep.
And now he's a member of the New England Patriots who are playing in the Super Bowl. That's not a bad run.
That's pretty nice, right?
It's not a bad run, Joe.
I'd certainly take that. Certainly. So
he's a great kid too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to mention this because it just popped in my head. I didn't put it onto the wrestling section, but Abington Heights' Hayden Manning, Honesdale's Madison Miller, and Scranton Prep's Willow McDonald won titles at the girls wrestling tournament at Wyoming Valley West this weekend. I didn't want that to get lost in the weeds there. But Joby, let's hear it. Who is winning Super Bowl, whatever this is?
Joe, it's Super Bowl 60.
Okay, there we go. Super Bowl 60. What's that in Roman numerals? I don't know. Oh, isn't it?
Joe, but what I will tell you
is it LX?
LX, yes.
Yeah.
Joe, so what I will tell you is, as you know, I'm a huge CJ Dupree fan.
Sure.
Okay. Great kid. I want nothing more than success. I'm really in a tough spot here, Joe.
True.
Because I have such disdain for the Patriots because the Patriots are 2-0 against the Rams.
That's right.
In the Super Bowl. And I also have such disdain for the Seahawks, who, in addition to being a division rival, defeated the Rams the NFC Championship game to prevent the Rams from playing in another Super Bowl. So I don't know, Joe. I'm going to say the Seahawks are going to win 24-17.
Okay, that's fair. And yeah, when it comes to me, Joby, obviously, the Seahawks have not been particularly kind to the Packers. One of the most devastating losses of my lifetime was the NFC Championship game.
You can't field an onside kick, Joe.
You just can't get an onside kick. And that one still hurts today. So I've got to say, I don't know that the Patriots can stand up to the Seahawks. I just think they're too good defensively. I think the Patriots still have injuries on the offensive line. So I don't know. I think I'd have to agree with you. I'm going to go Seahawks 21-17. So,
Joe, yeah. I want to tell you, by pouring more salt in my open wounds, you, like a lot of the players in the all-region team, have been pointing out the Seahawks and this incredible defense that they have.
Yeah.
Do you know Matt Stafford threw for almost 900 yards and 6 touchdowns in the last 2 times he's played the Seahawks?
That's true. Good point. It's a good point. Yep.
Defense. I'll give you a defense.
We got a good defense. I'll just say.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Rams have a good offense. I'll say
not good enough, Joe.
Not good enough, apparently. But you knew your defense was a sieve, unfortunately.
Oh God!
But I'm sorry, we don't have to relive this. We'll shy away from it. But yeah. So Joby, thank you for joining me. We went a little long here, but I always enjoy talking to you. Thank you to Addison Kilmer for joining us right before practice. Her Athlete of the Week interview that she did with me last night will be in Tuesday's paper, also be online. And, definitely follow us. Follow Joby tonight on X at SportsTT, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Times-Tribune Sports, for highlights and all the stories that we do. Follow Joby on his Times-Tribune Facebook, Joby Fawcett, the Times-Tribune, and subscribe here on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, and of course Podbean, where we record this every week, or at least we try. So, and again, Joby, I won't hold you up anymore. I know you got a game to get to. That's